Thank you. All right, are we ready? Okay, well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming this morning. As you know, well, first of all, at CPT, there is myself, Gwen Gillespie, and our project manager, Tricia Bartles, and then our tax team is here, Julie, Shannon, and Susie. And the reason we're hosting this meeting is because we are rolling out our updated CPT tax web. Some of you have seen it, some of you have not. The main thing we're going to discuss today deals with accepting delinquent tax payments on the tax web. And you all, most of you have the shopping cart already. And so just because you haven't seen our updated tax web doesn't mean you can't weigh in today. This is kind of a general discussion on how we would see delinquent taxes collected on the tax web. Okay, so to get started, we're not even going to talk about that. We're going to talk about special assessments. And the reason we're going to talk about that is Douglas County brought to our attention a PACE loan special that they had. And it was for a great deal of money, $8,210,000. And it was an installment special. And our amortization schedule did not match the bank's. And so if we kind of go, this was, let me see, this was our amortization schedule. And you see that our payments were at $843,700. And if we go to theirs, which is the second, you see here we came in at 843,687.76. Okay, so this was kind of a big difference to them because it was a big special. And so Mike and I were looking it over and thinking it over and trying to figure out why we would have that difference. And it came down to this. There aren't many specials that are this large. And when we calculated our interest rate, we were only going to like 4 or 5 decimals. And I got to thinking that over, and I just made a tweak and went out to 9 decimals. And it came right in line here, right in line. So I didn't quite know what to do with that because we really do need to have that in our system. So I thought, well, and the first thing I should say is don't get freaked out that all your specials are wrong if you have an installment going. First of all, very few of you would have this. And it's not like we're not collecting the principal, and it's not like that's not happening and all of that. It's just that the bigger the special gets, the more the interest gets off a little bit because of this precision problem that I would call it. So I thought, well, I guess I just have to put another type in because we have these specials running and we can't, like if we're right in the middle of a 20-year special, we can't just start recalculating. So I went home and I slept on it. And the next morning I got up and I thought, oh, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we say if the starting year is 2025 or greater, we are going to calculate with this precision for the interest. And if it's less than that, meaning the ones that are already running, they would be calculating the same way they do today. And so that is our plan at CPT. We are going to, I haven't made the actual programming changes yet, but I'm going to be making them very shortly. And then our tax team is going to be checking it out. And then we want to get it out to you in December so that when you come around, I know you're already entering those specials, but so that when you come around to actually calculating the new specials for your tax statements, they will be calculated under this method. Now, just to be clear, this is only the installment specials. The declining balance specials there's nothing to change there. It's just the installment specials. Okay, before I move on from that and move to the tax web, is there any questions on that? Any comments?
Or would someone like to speak up and let us know that you can hear us?
I guess if no one else does, I can. Janelle from Yellow Medicine. I guess I don't have any problems with updating the methodology with that. From our perspective, our county. The only comment I had is that maybe you want to put a good explanation for this changeover in your sequence for specials. So in case we forget that we attended this meeting, we'll remember that this was a changeover going forward.
That's for sure. And also we will cover this again at our meeting on December 4th. So that will be for all personnel from the auditor treasurer's office. But yes, we'll make note of that there in our sequences, and also we'll be covering this again. I just wanted to get it out there so whoever's here knows about it, and that we can get the programming done, tested, and out to you. So if there's no other comments, I'll move on. And please feel free today to comment. There's the chat. If we'll try and watch that, we will watch it. And so, because this is a meeting where we want input. We want input from you all. Janelle and Michelle have offered to share their county perspective on delinquent taxes and how they're accepted and all of that. But after that, we need guidance on how to handle them on the tax web, should you decide you want to collect them. Now, right now, a lot of counties, most counties do not even accept them. But the reason we're having this meeting is so that that can become available if you wish, and so that you know how that will happen. Okay, just a couple things about the tax web before we move into the delinquent portion. We've had some feedback on our sales tab. And this came mainly from assessors, but we just wanted to mention it today. This is how the current one looks. And what the issue that they felt is when there's more than one sale, it becomes not clear what this bottom piece that says details, what piece that goes with. Because you have the line up above, and then you have the details, and then if you move on down, there is another line in details, but they felt it was unclear what sales details that was actually going back to. So we did make a tweak, and this is what the new one actually looks like. So we took out that word sales details, and we just put the main information in the top line, just like it was, kind of shaded that, and then the details of that sale are underneath it. And this is what we will be moving out shortly. And we just wanted to show you that today and let you know about that. The second thing we want to discuss is those of you that have TNTs on the web. I don't actually know why this decision was made, but under the assessor's information is where those TNTs live, if you have them on the web. And we've had a couple of comments like, why are they there? And to me, I can't answer that. I have no idea why they were put there. I don't actually know. But our proposal is to move those TNTs down to the tax documents and have them down there or wherever, wherever your dashboard tax documents are. So what we're proposing is to just move them from the documents on the assessor's value side down to the tax billing side. And I guess my question is there anybody here, of course you have to have them on the web, but that would be opposed to that?
When my thought was, I don't remember the original reason, but our TNT notices just always used to land under there. And so maybe it was just one of those, well, we'll just put it where it's always been, even on the new tax web.
Yeah.
And so it probably does make more sense to have it by tax billing. But anyone else can disagree with me.
Well, if no one disagrees, and this is going to be a going once, going twice, going three times deal here, that's what we're going to be doing.
So it's gonna be where it says statements now.
Yeah,
That might be
yeah.
text documents or something.
Yeah,
but the
yeah,
TNTs will be there.
It'll be like this,
Mm-hmm, yep.
will be moved down to here.
Okay, going once, going twice. Anybody opposed? All right. Now, the reason we're all here. So we've had a couple of inquiries as we've moved to the updated CPT tax web about doing delinquent taxes. Now, currently, we always had two counties, and that was Douglas and Candy, Meeker and Candy, sorry, accepting delinquent payments on the web. And as Sibley tested, they asked if they could also accept, and then a couple other counties also asked. But right now, there's like no rules in place. We show you what's delinquent, but you can type in dollar amounts in any year you want. You can delete this parcel out. I'm not paying that one this year out, I should say. I'm not paying that one. There's no rules. The question here today is, if we're going to have rules, should you decide to accept delinquent payments? And there's options for what those rules could look like. And I'm just going to run through of a few that we've come up with in the office. And then I'm going to ask Janelle to explain from a county perspective what she feels this could look like. So the first thing is partial payments are accepted in the shopping cart. And this is overall, whether you take delinquents or whether you don't. And this was on the old system as well. You can type in the number you want, and that's what the credit card will charge. Of course, there's fees and etc. And that's what will come into your tax system. And so the first question is, will we continue to accept partial payments on the tax web? Then we get to the delinquent portion. Now, we could make this still wide open, and you see that big white space down in the right-hand corner. We could allow you, okay, so let me back up 1 second here. So what Sibley County decided to do is, you see over way at the bottom of the left corner, they wanted to put a disclaimer out saying this is how they were going to post the delinquent taxes. We could expand that and take it over to that on the right side, the white space, and let you put your own message and telling them, well, basically telling them you can put what you want in those amounts, but this is how it's going to be posted when it gets back to the county. That's kind of the gist of it. So that would be one method. The other method would be coming up with rules. And we would have to have some leeway. We always do. I mean, CPT is well known for allowing our counties to have options. So I always thought that delinquent taxes are paid in inverse order, no ifs, ands, or buts. There may be a little wiggle room on that thought. But the real question comes in when you have not only delinquent taxes, but now you have current year taxes, and how accepting payments looks when that happens. And so at CPT, we've just like off the top of our heads come up with like 3 things that might deal with the current year taxes. And that would be, you have to pay off all of your current year before you accept delinquent. You don't have to pay off any of your current year before we accept delinquent. That would be 2. And 3 would be, you only have to pay your current year when it becomes due. And the only way for us to really know when it's due is when penalty appears. So when your first half becomes, there's a penalty amount, it would mean, oh, you have to pay that first. And then you can move on to your delinquent. But like I said, that could all be done if you wanted with verbiage down below. So those are the questions that CPT would like answered today. Okay, right now I'll turn it over to Janelle to give us the county perspective on this.
Okay, so based on my knowledge and how we've been doing things in Yellow Medicine, I am not aware of any statute that requires a taxpayer to pay current taxes prior to any delinquent years. There is the statute out there, like what Sibley has listed on there, 280.39 has to do with delinquent taxes in the order. And so from our perspective, we allow the taxpayer to choose what they want to pay, if they're paying off their current taxes for that year, and or if they want to start making some on delinquents. I'm not sure if any of the rest of the counties on here have written policies that they make the public aware of, or that they've had board approval on, kind of things to dictate order of payment of taxes. Our perspective is a little more in that they take care of maybe their delinquent years first. You know, if they're working on it throughout the year, we don't want to lock them into something that would put them in a tax forfeited status too quickly. And that, you know, in your notice of expiration years, they aren't required to pay current year taxes unless they're doing a confession of judgment. And so if they pay all of the back taxes up for you, you're good to go and move on, and hopefully they aren't in that scenario again. So the other thing with that statute, the 280.39, that makes it slippery a little bit is that you are not locked into having to do that. That word may in it is what makes it your choice as a county. The only thing it specifies is that you make sure that the very last year paid is the oldest year that contains your lien that you've gotten judgment on and stuff. So um, for us, we've had more of the, if they put something in a delinquent year, we'll post it to that. But not necessarily, I don't know if we're looking for a lot of rules that people will misunderstand. So I don't know if Sibley wants to jump on or anyone else to help bring an opinion into this.
We would like to hear opinions today.
So this is Stacy from Douglas County. Ours is much like yours, Janelle, in which we allow people to make payments towards delinquent years, but we do the work towards the oldest year, in the reverse order. Along with that, because we find that if they can catch up on their delinquent years, and it's less risk of them going into the forfeiture process later down the road if we end up making them try to do their currents plus, try to keep on top of their currents and then try to get some towards delinquents. We often find those end up further behind than ahead. So we're in the same boat you are, I believe.
County is the same way to do that. We let them make payments as well. And I agree, it helps. And we find a lot of people that do get them paid up by making payments. And so we follow what Douglas and Yellow Medicine does.
Sounds like Todd County follows the same as Douglas and Yellow Medicine. It was tough to understand. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yep, we follow the same way.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Denise.
Same with Grant County. We do the same thing as Douglas and Yellow Medicine.
Are there counties that do something different?
Or have a county policy that forces you to do something different.
Right.
So if anyone else is thinking about speaking up yet, I guess what I would be excited about is maybe having a bigger message on there to point that out, like what Sibley has to say, this is how it will be applied. And that, so I guess I like that flexibility in putting wording on there to say what we're going to do versus you guys having to write a lot of rules for us.
Well, we're all in with that.
And that allows for flexibility in the future. Should any county do it a different way, they could change that wording.
Yep, this will be, we will, I know you don't know what your tax control file for the web looks like, but that information down in the left hand is all customizable according to county. So you would just send us the verbiage you want and we would type it in and to a slush field that would display there. And that's how it would go. And you would be like telling your taxpayer that, oh, well, even if you paid it this way, even if you plop that money all down into the oldest year, it won't be posted that way. So would anybody, and this isn't like this is set in stone forever and ever. We can certainly start out that way and get a field in place that we can enter that information how you want it, and it would display there. And then if later down the road, you all decide, or there's a legislative change that always changes things for us, that you would decide, well, now we do need some rules. The other thing I wanted to mention is we are considering passing the parcel and year together as one field, because I mean, your credit card companies have fields going in, and you may have to check it. We may have to have you check with your credit card company if this would be feasible. We'd like to pass the parcel and year into the credit card when we hand off to the credit card company. So that if you would take delinquent taxes, at least you would know, oh, they meant to pay delinquent. Now, if they paid the last year, at least you would have a clue that, oh, they wanted to pay their delinquents and not their current year. You may not post it to the oldest because you can't, but at least you would know what they intended. So how does everyone feel about that?
I'm fine with that for yellow medicine, that it can be a combined information field as long as I get it squared away with Forte. I don't know if they have a preference or not. I mean, if a parcel number field is a parcel number field, if you have kind of like how it goes on our tax batch stuff where it has a / and then the year. Is that what you're looking at doing? Or
That's what we were thinking of doing, yes. As long as the / isn't some sort of an escape character.
right.
That would be my only thing, because and we'll check that with our programmers. They know what the escape characters are. I don't think it is, but yes, that would be the plan. We don't want to change the number of fields because I'm pretty sure, well, I know that they count on the number of fields coming in. So we don't want to make it so we have to change the number of fields, because then we would surely have to go to each credit card company and say, oh, well, instead of 2 fields or 3, we're now passing in 3 or 4. We want to just incorporate it into the first field so that we don't hopefully have to make it too difficult.
That seems like it would be pretty seamless, that it wouldn't be a problem.
Mhm.
I like the idea.
Okay, so this is what I've gotten out of it today, and please feel free to drop us an email if you're like, yeah, I've thought it over and I don't like that, or whatever. Or you can drop us an email and say, yes, I like the idea and I'm going to do delinquents or whatever. But what I've gotten out of it is we are going to pass the parcel and the year into the credit card company. We are going to accept partial payments just like we have been. And we are going to come up with a space for you to explain how delinquent taxes will be posted, should you decide to accept delinquent payments on the web. Obviously, if you don't accept them, that won't even be displayed. So the last question here is, did I recap that right? Does anyone have any thoughts on those statements?
This is Jean Price from Redwood County. I don't have any thoughts on those statements, but I do have a question on paying through the credit card on the tax web.
Yes.
Will they be allowed to pay more than what's owed? Because we have issues where people
No.
continuously pay more. Okay, thank
No.
God.
It states in there, when I say you can make partial payments, you can make partial payments up to what's due.
Great.
You cannot pay more than is due.
It has overpayment not accepted on the bottom.
Yeah, you probably can't see that, but it's red and it says overpayment not accepted.
Yep, I see that. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Anyone else? Please feel free to speak up if you have any thoughts. Okay, going twice.
I think it's all good, Gwen.
All right, going 3 times. So, that's how we're going to proceed. And thank you for attending this morning. It's great even to hear it and that you all get thoughts on what takes place in the other counties. And we are excited about our updated tax web. We're happy with the look, and I think everyone that's seen it is happy with how it looks and acts. And so we're just going to keep moving forward with people testing now that the election and TNTs will be out the door. And so maybe we can be moving forward here. So that's
Gwen,
yes.
I have a question back on the special assessment report before you end today.
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, can you bring up Douglas's example again? There's no necessarily a change for you. I just have a question about is the columns of what prints on that report optional or changeable? Because mine is not in that same column. My admin fee is between interest and payment. Is that based off of our individual boxes?
This is the, oh my gosh, what option? Special assessment cards?
Oh, gotcha. Which I'll have to look because I didn't remember if mine looked the same. Maybe I print, like I said, something different, and that's why they're in another order.
You might print just the amortization schedule.
Okay.
And I wanted to pull this into a PDF, and this was the easiest way for me. So I just printed off the cards with the different amounts.
Okay. Yeah, because if you go into our inquiry is a
It
lot of
doesn't look
times where
that
I look
way.
at them, admin fee, I think
It's
is between interest and payment. Right?
yeah, and that really would be a better place for it.
It's just like, hey, wait, that's not the same order. That's all. It was an observation question. So
We might have to look at that.
if anyone has a preference of where that belongs or not, maybe everyone wants the admin fee by the year. I don't know.
Well, I don't know because, a lot of counties don't, well, I shouldn't say a lot. I don't know how many counties do it. I have no idea on that. So,
Whether they charge a fee or not,
yes,
or
yes.
sure. So that was
Okay.
all.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming, and we will see you on December 4th. Okay. So
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.